Welcome back to our channel, my wonderful friends. Today is a truly beautiful day to gather around, pour a warm cup of coffee, or perhaps a soothing chamomile tea, and chat about the latest, most captivating happenings right here in Port Charles. We are always so incredibly delighted to share these cozy moments with you, to unpack the swirling drama, and to look at the hidden details together. There is nothing quite like sitting down with good company to figure out what our favorite characters are really up to. So let us just jump straight into the heart of the story. I have been watching The Magnificent Ava for a very long time, and if there is one absolute truth I know about this woman, it is that she is as pretty as a peach but as sharp as a briar. She is not the kind of lady who simply sits by the window and waits for life to happen to her. Oh, heavens no. Ava makes things happen. Growing up deep inside the notorious Jerome crime family, she learned right from the cradle how to survive in a harsh world dominated by tough, dangerous men. She knows the intricate, shadowy ins and outs of the mob life better than anyone else in town. Now, as we have all seen, Ava has been going through a genuinely rough patch financially over the last few months. It always breaks my heart just a little bit to see a proud, independent woman struggle to keep her head above water. But at our age, we know that adversity only makes a strong woman more determined. When a lady like Ava finds her back pushed against the wall, she does not just fold up her tent and go home. She comes out swinging, looking for the smartest, most strategic way to get herself right back on top where she feels she belongs. And that brings me directly to the enigmatic Sidwell. Now, here is a man who is essentially a walking thunderstorm. He is immensely powerful. He is a billionaire, and he is deeply entrenched in a shadowy, dangerous underworld. But right now, beneath all that intimidating bluster, he is also a profoundly wounded soul. The tragic, untimely loss of his son, Marco, has left him grieving, angry, and incredibly vulnerable. I always say that a wounded bear is the most dangerous kind of animal in the woods, but it is also the easiest to approach if you know exactly what kind of honey to offer. Ava has been getting closer and closer to him lately, and I must tell you, it is absolutely fascinating to watch this dynamic unfold. Some folks might look at the television screen and think that she is simply swept off her feet by a handsome, mysterious billionaire. Bless their hearts, but I truly believe that is barking up the wrong tree entirely. Ava does not do simple fairy tale romance. When a woman with her complicated history sidles up to a man with his dangerous reputation, there is always a grand ledger being balanced in her brilliant mind. Let us sit down and really unpack that revealing episode from Wednesday, April the 15th. I was practically sitting on the very edge of my seat when Ava confidently strolled into Mayor Laura Collins's office. The entire conversation was supposedly centered around establishing a new flight path for Sidwell's private helicopters. Now, on the surface, that sounds like the most boring, routine city council business you could possibly imagine, does it not? But we know better. This was an absolute masterclass in manipulation, diplomacy, and hidden agendas. Laura was understandably frustrated and exhausted. She has been dealing with the absolute nightmare of Sidwell's relentless blackmail and his endless, arrogant demands. You could see the heavy toll it was taking on her. But instead of joining in on the complaints or getting defensive, Ava did something utterly brilliant. She played the calm, collected peacemaker. She stepped right into the middle of the tension and tried her very best to smooth the turbulent waters between the righteous mayor and the demanding billionaire. To do this, Ava used the most delicate and emotionally charged tool she had in her arsenal, Sidwell's profound grief. She softly explained to Laura that Sidwell is simply a broken father drowning in the sorrow of losing his precious boy, Marco. She painted a vivid, sympathetic picture of a man who is just burying himself in his work to avoid facing the crushing, unbearable pain in his heart. As mothers and grandmothers, we know there is no pain quite like losing a child, and Ava knew exactly how to pluck those specific heartstrings. I have to admit, it was a beautifully crafted, highly persuasive argument. Ava knows full well that Laura is a mother herself and a woman of great, boundless compassion. By framing Sidwell's stubbornness as a mere symptom of a shattered heart, Ava was expertly trying to soften Laura's heavy defenses. But she did not stop there. She also threw in a little dose of harsh, practical reality, reminding Laura that billionaires like Sidwell usually get exactly what they want anyway. As my dear grandmother used to say, you can catch a whole lot more flies with honey than you ever will with vinegar. But let us be clear, Laura is nobody's fool. She has been around the block more than a few times herself, and she has faced down some of the worst villains Port Charles has ever seen. She looked right through that sweet, sugary talk and gave Ava a very stern, very clear warning. Laura laid it all out on the table, telling Ava just how incredibly dangerous and ruthless Sidwell really is. She tried with all her might to make Ava see that she is playing with a fire that could easily burn her to ashes. And what did our Ava do? She simply brushed it off. It was exactly like water rolling right off a duck's back. I just had to shake my head and sigh because we have certainly seen this movie before, have we not? So many times over the long years, well-meaning people have tried to warn Ava about the highly dangerous company she insists on keeping, and every single time she completely ignores them. She firmly believes she is the grand exception to every rule. She honestly thinks she has the magic touch to tame the wildest beast. Right after that intense little chat at the mayor's office, Ava did not just go home to kick off her shoes and rest. Oh no, she headed straight over to the gloomy, gothic halls of Windermere to report back to Sidwell. I could almost feel the damp chill of that castle right through my television screen. She walked right in and laid out exactly what she had done for him. She wanted him to know, in no uncertain terms, that she was out there fighting his battles, smoothing his path, and acting as his fiercely loyal advocate in the community. Naturally, a suspicious man like Sidwell was curious. He has not survived this long by trusting people blindly. He asked her point blank why she would go out of her way to do such a generous thing for him, especially when she had nothing obvious to gain. Ava's answer was pure, unadulterated perfection. She looked him right in the eye, her voice soft and full of empathy, and told him that she deeply understands his pain. She told him that she just wanted to help him through this dark time and make his heavy life even a little bit easier. It was such a tender, seemingly supportive thing to say, and it hit Sidwell right in the heart. He openly admitted to her that he would never, ever forget how she stood steadfastly by his side during one of the absolute hardest, darkest chapters of his entire life. I tell you, watching that quiet, powerful moment, I realized exactly what Ava is doing. She is not just offering a friendly shoulder to cry on. She is carefully building an unbreakable bond of loyalty. She is making herself utterly indispensable to a very powerful, very dangerous man. This brings me to the big, burning question that I just cannot stop thinking about as I go about my day. Is Ava doing all of this because she genuinely has a soft spot for bad boys and wants a little romance? Or is there a much bigger, much more ambitious plan at work? We all know Ava is no innocent little lamb. She has lived through brutal mob wars, devastating betrayals, and shattering heartbreak. She can spot a dangerous criminal from a mile away simply because she was raised by them. The undeniable fact that everyone keeps warning her about Sidwell's dark, treacherous world, and yet she firmly anchors herself right in his inner circle, tells me that she is plotting something major. Sure, becoming the official girlfriend of a billionaire has its wonderful perks. It would mean a life of easy luxury, fancy clothes, and never having to worry about paying a single bill again. But for a brilliant, driven woman like Ava, I just do not think being a pretty trophy on a rich man's arm is anywhere near enough. She has tasted real, intoxicating power in her life, and she misses it. I strongly believe she is aiming much, much higher than just romance. I think Ava is working tirelessly to prove that she is highly capable of being his right-hand woman. She wants to be a full partner in his shadowy syndicate, not just a partner in his bed. Look at how she handles herself in these situations. She is not just batting her eyelashes and wearing pretty dresses to get his attention. She is actively, boldly inserting herself into his complex business affairs. She is managing his public relations with the mayor of the city. She is showing incredible tact, strategy, and diplomacy with his vital contacts. This is the calculated behavior of a woman who is essentially applying for a job as a mob boss's top lieutenant. She is demonstrating her immense value every single day. She wants Sidwell to look at her and see an absolute equal, someone who can navigate the treacherous waters of organized crime with both grace and ruthless efficiency. When you remember that Ava was facing serious, terrifying financial ruin just a few short months ago, this whole elaborate strategy makes perfect, crystal clear sense. How does a former mob princess get her vast fortune back? She goes right back to what she knows best. By stepping boldly into Sidwell's world and working right by his side, she can achieve total financial freedom and regain the immense power and respect she lost. It is a brilliant, albeit terrifying, plan. She is using her heritage, her street smarts, and her irresistible charm to carve out a brand new throne for herself in his empire. But I have to wonder, and I worry for her, is she biting off more than she can chew? Sidwell is a man who destroys his enemies without a second thought. If he ever wakes up and suspects that Ava is merely using him, or that her sweet loyalty is just a calculated business move, the consequences could be absolutely devastating. Yet, that is the undeniable thrill of watching Ava Jerome. She walks the high tightrope without a net, and we simply cannot look away. I am so incredibly eager to see how this all unfolds, and I know you are too. We will keep watching, keep analyzing, and keep sharing these wonderful moments together.